So I recently just watched all of the Friday the 13th movies. Well, technically I didn't watch all of them. I only watched the ones that Paramount made. But to me, that's actually all the Friday the 13th movies. Well, I mean, Jason Goes to Hell is technically a Friday the 13th movie, but it wasn't made by Paramount. And also Jason X wasn't made by Paramount. So technically this video is only based on the Paramount movies. So how should I start this critique? The Jason franchise itself is a popular franchise that everybody knows. Like, Jason is just a big icon when it comes to the slasher genre. The biggest flaw with the Friday the 13th movies made by Paramount is they are so repetitive. It's the same formula every movie. Counselors or teens go on vacation to a cabin. They start hooking up, getting drunk. They wander off from the group. Well, usually it's two that wander off from the group, and those are the ones that usually hook up. While they are hooking up, Jason stabs them through the bed. Like, it's the same thing. The ones that stay behind, they wander off from each other and they get killed, and they go look for them, then they get killed. It's the same thing every movie. Like, no lie. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes being repetitive can actually work. Like, look at Ghostface in the Scream franchise, for example. Every movie is basically the same thing. Somebody starts killing everybody. Ghostface is most likely always someone in the friend group. Yes, this is very repetitive, but at the same time, each movie feels refreshing. Not all of them, but most of them. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the last Scream movie, but I think the main thing with Scream is what keeps us intrigued is to see who the reveal is. But anyway, back to Friday the 13th. Yeah, when I watched them, they were just so repetitive that it gets boring to a point. Now, the first couple of movies, they were great. The first movie where Miss Voorhees was actually the killer, that was great because it had a lot of suspense. It took the old school approach that we don't even see anymore in movies. You know, the approach when there's a killer, but the person that's about to die, they always see the killer. But us as the audience and the viewers, we never actually see who the killer is until it's time for them to be revealed. I think Sleepaway Camp, the first movie, had this type of trope where you didn't know who the killer was and they were trying to fake you out. And then the person who was about to die, they would see the killer, but you still wouldn't know who it was. The first movie had a pretty good plot. Don't get me wrong. Now, it was the same thing. People just die, then this person dies. But at the end, when they showed Miss Voorhees, she gave a reason to why she was killing people. Because she felt the count failed her son. They let him drown. That was a good enough reason to keep me hooked at the end. Like, I sat up in my seat like, okay, so she has a reason. She's not just killing people to kill people. Now, when it gets to Jason in the second movie, I feel like he has a reason because time the movie starts, he kills the girl in the first movie that kills his mother. But after the first two movies, it starts just getting like stupid at that point. He just killing people. Like, he's just killing people. Like, after the second movie, Jason just killing whoever. And boy, I almost forgot. The Friday the 13th movies have so many plot holes. Now, anybody that knows about the Friday the 13th franchise, please correct me if I'm wrong. The thing I don't get about Tommy Jarvis is Tommy Jarvis grew up in the Crystal Lake area. Jason never tried to harm or kill them or anything. So my thing is, if they've been living in this Crystal Lake area for that long, why haven't Jason never tried to kill them? Why until this movie, when a fresh group of kids show up, Jason then decides to kill their mother off screen and decides to attack them? That was always questionable to me. If they've grew up in this area, why haven't they been targets of Jason? Why does he only attack them when new people come next door? And the biggest plot hole of them all is the 8th movie in the Friday the 13th series. Jason takes Manhattan, or Jason goes to Manhattan, whatever the movie is called. It's when he goes to Manhattan or New York. So the whole entire series, I thought Camp Crystal Lake was this enclosed body of water. In the movie before that, Jason gets sent back to the bottom of Camp Crystal Lake. But in the beginning of the 8th movie, Jason Takes Manhattan or whatever, he drifts out of Camp Crystal Lake into like the sea or something, like towards a dock. But that's not realistic because in the movie, how we've seen Camp Crystal Lake throughout the whole series, it's an enclosed body of water. So that was a big plot hole. Camp Crystal Lake is enclosed. We see the lake, we see the people diving in it. It's enclosed. It's an enclosed body of water. Then when the movie did bad, they sold it to New Line Cinema. I think they made Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare on Elm Street series. And that's how I think that we ended up getting Freddy versus Jason. But yeah, the more you watch the series, you can just tell it's more of a cash grab. What drew the line for me with Jason, it wasn't the Manhattan part. They introduced a girl with powers. Now, granted, they kind of had to do that because they kind of effed themselves over because they made Jason an undead zombie. Like, you couldn't kill him. They would shoot him in the face, keeps walking. They would do this to him, keeps walking. So they kind of messed themselves up. They needed a way to take Jason out. But they couldn't do it because they made him too OP. Before you figure out it's repetitive, the first couple of movies are great. When you keep watching it, it just get worse and worse. That's what led to them selling their rights to New Line Cinema.